Good day, everyone. Richard Copperthwaite for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us again here on your local public access TV. Taping the show just a few hours after our town meeting day-night coverage show. And I appreciate our two regular guests on the show for our bi-weekly St. Albans Today, St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith.
Hello, Richard.
And Brendan Deso, the Selectboard Chairman in St. Albans Town. And thanks to both of you folks for jumping in last night. And pretty much, I guess you could say, a pretty good day for the city and town. Big town hall moving ahead in St. Albans Town, and the community swimming pool moving ahead in St. Albans City. Tim, I do want to mention, boy, the Ward 5 race. So one race in the two communities was Ward 5 City Council with Kate Lattison, the incumbent two-term councilor, being challenged by Bob Farah, the former city attorney. And I think perhaps to the surprise of some folks, Bob Farah winning a fairly close race, I think by 18 votes. But I know you're going to miss Kate. I mean, you have a solid successor to Kate coming on, but 6 years, I'm sure you're going to miss Councilor Kate Lattison.
Yeah, I was one of those surprised, Richard.
Yeah.
As you had said, Kate has 2 terms under her belt. I thought I've been able to work with her over the last 3. I thought she was growing into the seat for sure, and was really reaching out and doing a lot of things for her community. And Bob does have some name recognition. He was he ran for probate judge, I believe, was it?
Indeed, came very close to getting elected Franklin County probate judge.
And Bob worked hard, and and ultimately prevailed. So I haven't had a chance to talk to Kate. I'm not sure what her plans are down the road, but it was. I among many was surprised at the victory for Bob.
Interesting. You would think not much of a learning curve for Bob Farah as he jumps on the city council. Certainly knows the city very well, obviously.
Yeah, no, he's well versed in that for sure.
Boy, it gives you half a council, almost half with lawyers now, I guess.
That's the fear of some folks. But so we have I'm not sure when he's going to get sworn in. We have a special meeting to approve a resolution Wednesday night. I'm not sure if we'll do that swearing in at that time or not. I need to check with the city
as in
clerk.
Tonight or a week from tonight or?
It's tonight.
As in tonight.
Yeah. So he would be jumping right in.
Interesting. And Brendan, congrats on your re-election. I guess you didn't have to work too hard for that, running unopposed. And again, Brian Delorier succeeding Stan Dukas. And I know you're going to miss Stan. You've had very good words for Stan's tenure.
Very much. Yeah, we're going to miss Stanley a lot. But we can't thank our voters enough. Richard, the town hall passed.
You had a pretty good turnout in the town.
Yeah, preliminary number 1,251 yay, 598 no.
Wow.
So it was more than 2 to 1 that the article passed by. The town garage passed by about 800 to 250, if I remember right. So town voters are they're definitely there for us when we articulate a need. If we tell them that we need something to better serve you, they've been willing to help us responsibly, build these assets, and we look forward to, breaking ground in May, hopefully, on the new town hall. And there's pandemic-related material shortages all over the place, material cost increases through the roof, so we might have to be very strategic about how we go about this construction process. It won't be as easy as the garage, but
should be a definite go. No, nothing should get in the way of this.
No, nothing at all. It's just, whether or not the flooring that we picked gets back ordered, and there needs to be a decision whether or not to wait or to pick a new equipment. There's going to be a lot more discussions, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a good process, and it's a major part of our plan to revitalize St. Albans Bay. So, we can look back at this process and say, we had 5 articles over 3 elections that all passed. I think if we ever do another major capital spend where there's options, like the town hall, we had the option of keeping or moving. What locality within the town to be located in, because you've got the 2 growth centers, you've got the bay, and the voters by a 1,500 to 400 person margin said they wanted it to stay in the Bay Area, and that's where we started. And now we're going to build a new town hall, and it's gonna be great. It takes into account 75 years of growth. So, you know, we're positioning the community to grow without having to invest more money into municipal buildings.
Right. Tim, I mentioned this again in our coverage of town meeting day on last night, Tuesday night. I mentioned this to Kelly Viens, the city rec director, obviously very happy with the community pool vote. Just as I voted yesterday morning at City Hall, just getting into my car and I saw a flyer on one of the storefronts on North Main Street. I asked Kelly. Kelly hadn't seen these, but again, this was, I saw a bunch of flyers on the businesses which said, taxes weighing you down, drowning in debt, vote no on city pool. You know where that came from?
No,
Kelly didn't know.
No clue where it came from.
Did you see those yourself?
I actually came across one on just past City Hall on the left, where the Restorative Justice office was. It was taped
Yeah.
to the window.
Maybe worth noting again that property taxes, folks will not be taking.
Right. No, I think whoever was doing those, whoever made the drawing and made copies of it and made the point of distributing around, I think there was one taped to City Hall too, from what I understand, was naive to what the process was. I mean, I think we tried to share with folks that it came from, local option tax is what's going to cover the debt service.
Yeah.
And yet some people choose not to listen or don't listen. And
I guess in fairness, a critic of the pool, and obviously there are critics to everything all the time. I guess someone could say, well, we know it's not property taxes,
You're
but
exactly
we think
right.
you could use the LOT money better. So that might be one argument. But again, just for the record, no property tax hit on the community
Exactly.
swimming pool.
Yep, yeah, so it is a tax, it's a 1% tax on sales,
Yeah.
and we'll all be responsible for that. But, it's, I think that was a better way to go than any property tax increase, for sure.
Boy, the future of Hardak is just, talk about an incredible future.
Yeah,
They got the new lodge up and the pool. So this is, the vote, it's voted in. Anything that could potentially get in the way of this, or is this pretty much a done deal?
As far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
To go back to Hardak, if you went up any day this week during school vacation or on the weekend, the place was just jam-packed. I mean, it was a perfect week for utilizing that. And I sent out my mayor's comments in the water bills, and I just mentioned that, that's going to be a family destination for recreation. I mean, and more so than it is now. I mean, it's going to be quite the destination for families to swim, hike, ski, slide, all of those, run. So we're excited about it. We think it'll be a great asset to not only St. Albans, city and town, but the whole county.
Not to take anything away from Collins Purley, which I appreciate, being a tennis player, and I'd like to think tennis will come back in my lifetime, but there was in the past at least some loose, maybe very loose talk about possibly a second hockey rink, skating rink at Hardak. Is there any such talk these days? Or
No, not that I'm aware of. The most recent one I've heard is a turf field at the complex.
Yeah.
Or more than one, maybe the football and lacrosse are turf fields.
Right.
So I think that's the discussion that's ongoing, but I'm not sure what the timeline is for that discussion.
Right.
So.
And just for the record, other city articles, everything passed, $9 million budget.
Yeah, everything passed.
Water storage tank in the Kingman
Storage tank, Kingman Street, the
streetscape.
budget, the streetscape, exactly. So all of those pass about on average, about 550 to 300, 275 range. So
And I know you said during covers last night that not a particularly impressive turnout in this.
yeah, no, I didn't think so. 800, 850 turning out to vote for articles that were quite extensive, to say the least. So I was disappointed in that, and the town went to a mail ballot and had outstanding response.
Right.
It's something that
in
will.
retrospect, do you think the city, see if have discretion in the future? Do you think, in retrospect, maybe you should have mailed ballots out?
I think some folks might second guess that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't really dwelled on it that much, but it would have been nice to get a better response for sure.
Yeah. And And Brendan, I guess you would say the decision to mail out ballots, I think was a good move?
Yeah, we went to Senator Parent and said, hey, we're not talking to you as Ops Director, we're talking to you as Senator Parent, and we want you to support a bill to make universal mail-in voting an option for every community, for every election going forward, even after the pandemic ends. We're shattering participation records every time we mail ballots. We turned out over 70% of our voters in November. We had the highest turnout in a non-presidential primary town meeting day in our history yesterday.
What was the percentage turnout?
I don't know the percentage, but we had just under 1,800 votes. An average town meeting is in a non-presidential year is around 950.
Really?
So we effectively doubled what we normally see, and we were able to make this town hall decision as on a larger scale. So it's indicative of the community wanting to be involved and informed and having a say in its local governance, and we couldn't be more appreciative for everybody taking their time to check in on us and ask questions and to make sure we're doing our jobs effectively, because every time my phone rings from a taxpayer with a perspective, it opens doors for me to be able to think in a new way. So we ask that you continue to reach out. We know that we don't have another election between now and 2022, town meeting day 2022. And we know that it's not fun to hop on a Zoom meeting to listen to a select board meeting, but we hope this summer to be back in person. If we can get outdoors or maybe use the public works facility with some doors open, we're looking forward to seeing everybody again, and we hope within the next few months that's possible.
Interesting. Any
Brendan.
more news on the old public works site? Again, talk about maybe having a boat access area. Is that the hope at this point?
We're working with the state to see what different agencies we should be working with. We view it as a recreation project, a water quality project. We've had the environmental site assessments done. We have no serious contamination to really speak of on that site. We had to install a couple monitoring wells near the old salt shed to monitor for a slight petrol contamination that they found, but it's not migrating and it seems to be pretty stable. So, a big part of our plan for that property is to use it for overflow parking for the new town hall, considering that it's just across the street from Wharf Street. So we've got a lot of plans. We'd like to, over the next year or two, look at connecting the new town hall to the park with a sidewalk. But we'll do that as money becomes available. And we stay very in touch with those who put out grants, and we put our projects when we have a priority project, we put it out in the universe, and people bring us grant opportunities too. So we're paying attention, we're being diligent. We understand that voters just approved spending about $10 million for a new garage and a new town hall. We understand that it's probably best now to turn back the spigot a little bit and focus on some smaller scale projects. And to make an impact however we can without raising property taxes.
Tim, boy, tough story which we've talked about before, the USCIS, U.S. Customs and Immigration Services, and the problems at the Gill Tabor complex. So it's now clear the feds are basically had it with that building. They're not going to go back there.
I don't.
Nothing totally clear.
Yeah, I don't think the door's totally closed on not going back there. I think at some point they're going to need space. We do have a call with Leahy's office today to get a better understanding. There's a discussion of the government putting out an RFP for a new building or a new location, I should say. It doesn't have to be a new building. 50 to 70,000 square feet. So I think there's a number of parties interested in that, including the city and other developers. So I think we're going to have that discussion, and we've been prepped that there's still not a lot of information out there coming down from immigration or Homeland Security. So,
but at this point, a number, a couple hundred, or a number of employees who were working at the Tabor complex are now working in Essex, I guess.
Yeah, I think 225 is the number I've heard. So, And what they've learned through COVID is most of their employees can work from home. I mean, they were doing that previously, but I think there was limitations on it. And now they've been forced to come up with a system for everyone. So
Right.
what I understand is every employee needs to go in at least once a week to pick up files and return files they've been working on.
Right.
And so that's the need for an actual site at some place. We have received a number of assurances that that new site would be in Franklin County, so that's a plus if there is one. So
Is that right? So if there were to be a new site, it would be Franklin County?
that's what we've been told.
Interesting.
We hope to find out more today.
Right. Downtown project, the second apartment building across from the library, is that getting fairly close to completion?
Still working through it, yeah. It's close. You know, we the other one, I think I shared last time that Champlain Housing's been very pleased with the response for their building on the north end of Maiden Lane, and the Congress and Main building is being used for vaccinations by the hospital. From what I understand, it's going very well.
In fact, I can report you're looking at one of the people who got a shot in there.
Yeah, so I heard it's going well. So, yeah, we're happy. We have discussions on a couple other projects, future development projects for the downtown area. So we continue to move forward on those.
Yeah. And again, the former CCV headquarters on South Main Street, future home of a new St. Albans Police Department.
Yeah, that's sort of a new dilemma, not so much for the city, but for the Wise Time daycare. So for those who may not know, the daycare was flooded out as well when the immigration pipe burst, and they had to find a new location, and the city had not yet gotten to the point where they were doing demolition on the CCV building. So we were able to locate that child care facility into the CCV building, but they need to be out by the 1st of April because of the demolition and construction.
Huh.
So now we're looking for, we've been working with those individuals to find another location. It's not easy to find a site which meets childcare criteria.
Right.
As many people know, that's been a hot topic since the state changed the regulations. So we're looking for a place that, the place has to have a green space, it has to have a certain number of bathrooms, a certain amount of space for each child. So we've looked at a couple sites, and we looked at one yesterday, and they're supposed to get back to us as to whether it will work or not. So,
Right. Brendan and Tim, about just exactly 1 year after the pandemic took hold. Again, you mentioned maybe hoping to get back to public select board meetings this summer, but thoughts when one year into this? Certainly better news both on the state level and national level on vaccines anyway.
Well, that's it. I mean, we've got over 500,000 Americans dead.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So that weighs heavy on us, but
And I think Vermont over 200 deaths, I think now.
yeah, and but there's a light at the end of the tunnel that gets a little brighter and bigger every day. You've had both of your vaccinations. My
Lucky
grandfather
me.
had his first last week, goes in for his second next week. My wife and the mayor's wife are both working the vaccine clinic for NMC right now. So, our families are both involved in the vaccine rollout process. President Biden says that there'll be enough vaccine doses on hand by the end of May for every adult American. We see our case numbers trending lower in Vermont week to week. As we move further and further away from the holiday season, it seems like we're falling back in line, but there are also, several variants out in the open that are highly infectious, and I think we saw that in the northeast corner of our county. And, if you look at Northeast Correctional, the Newport prison, I think they have a breakout of like 140 inmates and staff, and they say corrections says they're treating that facility like a hospital.
Wow.
I saw this morning on Twitter, Kay Sharam is advocating for the vaccination of all inmates. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think we you know, we've got a lot to work through the next few months. It was nice to see that the governor is prioritizing teachers and childcare workers now, and that they'll be able to be vaccinated, and hopefully that allows us to reopen schools for in-person learning 5 days a week. So it'll be good. You know, if we can get kids back to school, I think that's going to be key to you know, everybody's mental health. I don't have 3 children in school like the mayor does, but you know, you can see differences when you interact with children in your family that have been, you know, not able to be around, you know, 20 of their classmates every day like they normally would have been. And you know, I can't imagine being that age. You know, imagine being 8 years old right now.
I can't imagine that.
It's scary, very scary, but the light at the end of the tunnel gets bigger every day.
Yeah.
You know, from the town, just on behalf of the town, we've been working really hard so that when we are able to get back, you know, open, you're going to notice some differences. If you haven't been to the park since the start of the pandemic in the Bay, you're going to notice some differences there. We're working with some local businesses to try to do some natural hockey rink tournaments next year. We're going to start reaching out to some local clubs to do some private fundraising for the refurbishment of the Stonehouse. We understand that everything we put into our park system is valued, and you know, we're striving to keep them open longer. 2017, when I got elected, it was illegal to walk your dog in any of our parks. They closed Labor Day and they opened back up on Memorial Day. So beginning of September to the end of May, they were closed. You know, we've had that park open as often as possible with the parking lot plowed, and we've tried to keep the walking path down to blacktop so it's safe for people to
I
walk.
appreciate. I'm down there a few days a week. I certainly appreciate that.
You know, it's indicative of a culture change that the town as an organization is going through. We've got several new staff members. We're hoping to bring on a stormwater coordinator in the next few weeks. And I can say that, you know, from the time that I got elected to now, a huge difference. There's no longer, you know, select board handing down yearly goals to staff. You know, we've got staff members with expertise that we didn't even know they had, bringing their own goals to their own supervisors who are communicating them to the select board. And, you know, it seems to be like the organization is functioning at a very high level. And we have these, we have the new Department of Public Works facility. Hopefully about a year from now, we'll have the town hall completely done. And, you know, we're really, you know, I don't mean to sound too big for my britches, but we're really building a juggernaut here. We're the fastest growing community in the fastest growing corner of Vermont. You know, we've got a grand list of over $1 billion, $2.5 million in debt that'll be paid off in 15 years on this town hall. Those debt payments are all paid by the local option tax. We're in great shape. We own every piece of equipment we have outright. We're positioning ourselves with some policy changes and capital planning to be able to say that in 30 years from now too. So we're just trying to do everything we can to position the town to, you know, grow into its new role as the, you know, the economic hub of Franklin County. And I think what you saw yesterday with our voters turning out in droves, that I think that's only the beginning of a community buy-in to that process. And you know, we look forward to continuing to work with our voters and our volunteers, our staff, and elected officials to keep making good progress.
Tim, again, a year into the pandemic, you hear a lot of references. Brenda just made one light at the end of the tunnel. Do you see that too? Are you pretty comfortable saying that too, or not so much?
No, I think in talking with some of the businesses downtown, I think many of them feel that if they can get to April, which is or the end of April, I should say, which is 2 months away, that it should be sort of the turning point for the business. You know, come the 1st of May, many of the restaurants will be able to get back outside. I think that's been huge for their success, if you will. I mean, being able to stay open is to have that ability to have the outside dining and increase their numbers for sure. Other businesses, you know, come spring, it's a different attitude. We've had a conversation on the city level about potentially going back to some concerts in the park. I'm not saying every week, but that would be a sort of a sign of getting back to normal. I think we all have learned, when city, town, or whoever have learned what needs to be done and how to address the pandemic, and I think we've been able, we could pull off an outdoor concert or two for sure. You know, the farmers market is scheduled to open up May 15th. So I think if we can get to that, and who knows how many vaccines would have been just, you know, administered by that point, but I think if we can get to the 1st of May, you're going to see a different environment for sure.
Again, there obviously have been some casualties from the, again, year into the pandemic, but not too many for the city.
Not too many, but once again, it's the next 2 months will be key.
Yeah.
You know, you can only hold on for so long.
Yeah.
But there is another, you know, with the new package coming down, it'll be interesting to see what access people have to those funds.
Yeah. With your Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation hat, the businesses, bigger places in Franklin County generally hanging in at least.
Oh, no doubt. If you're talking manufacturing, I think manufacturing is what's put us over.
Doing pretty well.
I think they put us over the edge in terms of keeping our smaller businesses in business. I mean, many of them are, I've mentioned this before, many of them are essential businesses. They're value-added food business. People might wonder why ice cream or chocolate, but it's a food business, and they all fall under the same category, which is essential. And, you know, they've been hiring, they've been adding jobs. You know, some of them were shut down for a month or 6 weeks, but other than that, you know, many of them are seeing an increase in business, investment. They're making capital investments. So I think we're very fortunate. You know, 13% of our jobs in the county are manufacturing. So all those people were able to continue to work, continue to be paid a good wage and benefit. So
Did you say 13%?
13%, yeah.
Is that a higher figure, I would guess, than statewide, or?
It is higher. Statewide is about 10.5.
Really?
So
Interesting.
we're fortunate, and I think that's been a valuable part of our economy for sure. So I think, you know, because of their due diligence, and none of those businesses had a breakout at all. I mean, there was, I think I heard of 2 cases throughout all the manufacturers, and so they did their diligence, and they addressed this, you know, to a greater point than was what was recommended by the government or anyone else. So I thought they did a wonderful job, and that I give them credit for us being able to keep downtown open and keep people of being able to pay their taxes, water, sewer bills. I think we still haven't seen a big impact in the delinquency of those. So we're very I say this all the time, Richard, we're very fortunate. There's rural counties across the country that trade places with us in a heartbeat.
Boy, I bet you're right about labor shortage, quickly a huge issue in the past, not so much an issue now.
No, still an issue, big issue, going to continue to be an issue for decades.
Yeah.
You know, we do, as Brendan said, there are people moving to the area, growing, but it's not enough to maintain the I think what you're going to see is a lot more conversion to true automation. You still need people to do the maintenance and whatnot on those machines, but I think you're going to see more and more investments in automation, just so that they can continue to produce their products.
Interesting. Brendan, down to one minute. I'll give you half a minute here, but again, sounds like you're feeling pretty upbeat right now.
Yeah, no, we're in good shape. We look forward to continuing to make some good progress, and we thank Stan Dukas for his 6 years of service, and we congratulate the city on all of your articles passing, and look forward to a new community pool year-round at Hardack, and we really commend everything you guys are doing up there. We think it's great for the community, and you know, we're here to work together and do whatever we can to make St. Albans a better place to live, work, and raise a family.
Sounds like we have a number of positive developments. So again, we'll see what the year brings. Hopefully, it's going to be a much better year. Anyway, thanks to Brendan Deso, the St. Albans Town Select Board Chairman, just re-elected, St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks for your time. Thanks to producer Roger Lindelof. Thanks for watching us as ever on Northwest Access TV, and hopefully we'll see this show again in a couple weeks on St. Patty's Day. See ya. Thanks.